Morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome, Longhorn Fan Battle Network. I'm your host for today, Harish. My guy Tim Wayne will be here in a second, but we're going to go ahead and get started. We're here. Selection Sunday. Texas takes care of business yesterday in Dallas, 49-21 over Oklahoma State. And then we had a little bit of craziness yesterday, right? Michigan, um, Alabama beats Georgia. I apologize in the SEC championship, and then Michigan takes care of business, and then Florida State beats Louisville. Right, uh, another messy performance. And here's Tim. What's up, Tim Wayne? How you feeling, my man?
After the conversations and what we've had last night, I don't know. I
I'm gonna tell you
literally
this.
the last conversation I've had, okay, to be fair, last night after the game, I was pretty confident, right?
I wasn't.
I was confident because for one, um, again, they keep saying versus best versus whatever the case. Like I forget the terminology, right? So they keep saying Texas is one of the four best teams and deserves to be in the college football playoff. Now, again, there are some that don't necessarily believe that, and if you don't believe that, that's cool. You're entitled to your own opinion. However, when you deal with a situation like yesterday, where outside of maybe 10 or 12 plays, Alabama looked dominant. They're the hottest team in the country. After that loss, they just kind of went on a spree. Now, they did hit bumps in the road, and we literally just talked about this 5 minutes ago, right? They had their bumps. Best versus deserving. That's what the terminology is right now. That's the catchphrase, right? Best versus deserving. Even with the way that Florida State defense played last night, me personally, I don't think they're the best or they deserve a spot. I just don't because
Um, let's break that down a little bit, right? So
okay,
if we're talking about best versus deserves, right, which is what this conversation is, I absolutely think they deserve to get in the college football playoff just because they lost their best player, who not only is the quarterback of the team, but also on top of that, he was in the Heisman race,
oh,
pretty
absolutely.
high in it, right? So and they
Jordan
were
Travis,
still able to win.
right,
That is deserving, right?
right.
But they would get dog walked by any of their 17s up there. So then it goes back to they're not really the best, right? They're not one of the four best teams. They're
No,
deserving, but they're not
no,
one of the four best teams.
exactly. Um,
So that's what that is.
can we talk about um what your thoughts were on the not only the Oregon and Washington game, but your thoughts on the actual game between um I would say the biggest wash of the weekend was Michigan versus Iowa. Even though even though Michigan did struggle, they did not look explosive like they had in the past, these past couple of weeks. And I think they kind of skated on by because of all of the other drama, right? So they basically won to get in. But I would definitely like to hear what your thoughts about that Washington game against Oregon. Um, Oregon looked Oregon looked bad. Like Bo Nix did not have the greatest first half ever. He cleaned it up in the second half for the most part, but Washington looked dominant from almost from pretty much the whole game.
By the end,
Especially when it came to running the ball.
You know who Oregon reminded me of by the end of it?
Who?
Last year's USC team.
Oh, okay. I can see. Yeah.
Right? Because USC only lost 2 games last year.
Right.
And it was to Utah.
Right.
In the regular season and in the Pac-12 championship game.
Right. Right.
They reminded me of it. It was, and then in between all that, they were blowing everybody out. If I remember correctly, USC had some pretty emphatic wins, and like, oh, Caleb Williams is catching your stride. Bo Nix and Caleb Williams, like their seasons last year are pretty identical. Where they get in, they lose early to the second best team in the conference, or I guess the first best team in the conference. Mm-hmm. They get all the way back, get to the same point, and they have the opportunity to redeem that loss, and they look completely dead. Yeah, that Washington team is stacked at receiver. Yeah, obviously we all know about Dusney, who low key I hope the Colts get him. I really like him. He'd be an excellent number 2. Or Keon Coleman. I'll take Keon Coleman. And actually, when it comes to the Florida State thing, I'll come back to that. I was actually shocked at the fact, not the fact that Washington won. Look, if they would have won a close game, no harm, no foul. It is what it is. Right. I was shocked that they dominated in the fashion that they did, and I actually had a chance to watch this game at Texas Live. It was super cool, by the way. Right. That was a neat experience. Okay. The couple things that stood out to me: Bo Nix is a dink and dunker, and Washington was not having that. He tried to do it all night. He tried to dink and dunk mostly. A lot of his yardage and stuff comes from Yak, from his receivers, because they've got such fast receivers. Yeah,
they've got speed everywhere.
Everywhere, right?
Even at tight end. Tight end,
it's insane.
Pretty insane.
So, I was very impressed with. Now, what would have been funny, or what would have been interesting, is Oregon won. Texas would be on the outside looking in.
Oh yeah.
So Washington actually did us a favor. I'm looking. So we're looking at. I'm looking at the ESPN playoff predictions right now. Sam Acho. Oh, can I pause this? Sam Acho has Michigan, Washington, Texas, Florida State.
Yeah, I see that. I'm looking at it.
Yeah, RG3 has Washington, Michigan, Texas, Florida State. Dan Mullen has Michigan, Washington, Florida State, Texas. Dan Orlowski has Washington, Michigan, Texas, Alabama. Now, here's the thing. The latest AP poll just came out probably about an hour ago. Yeah. Texas is ranked number 3. Right. The AP poll and the CFP poll has basically gone pretty much hand in hand. Right. Yeah. Now I understand, we had that conversation in the chat. I understand, for weeks Oregon had been ranked ahead of Ohio State, a lot, and ahead of Texas. Yeah, that's true, and they were ranked ahead of Texas in the AP poll as well. Right. This week they're not. Texas is ranked 3 in the AP poll. Right. I think Texas is getting in now. Whether they get in as a 3 or a 4, I think they get in. But I'm also holding out that hope, that. I don't want to get too excited about it.
Mm-hmm. You're trying to be even killed, and
I'm trying to be. I don't want to get too excited because this podcast is going to go sideways real quick if we get in. If we don't get in, I might be. We might be popping bottles, bro. Yeah. If we don't get in, then I'm like, you know what? I'm not surprised by it. The committee has shown how much they've hated Texas. It is now 11 o'clock. Yep. The show is starting. Tim, we're going to switch gears real quick. Okay. Who are your 4?
Okay. My 4: Michigan, Washington, Texas, and believe it or not, Alabama. I don't want them in there.
I think that's who I have too.
I don't want them in there. Here's why. Alabama beat Georgia. Cool. We know that. They dethroned the defending national champions. They've killed a running streak. All of that is gone, right? But now you have a situation where, again, who's best versus who's deserving.
Yep.
Alabama, to me, last night proved that they are one of the best teams.
Yep.
They are deserving over Florida State.
Sure.
Over Florida State. I'm not knocking Florida State. Now, if Florida State comes out, dog, Jordan Travis is easily one of the funnest quarterbacks we've seen in a long time. And we've had, again, nothing against Caleb Williams, nothing against those boys. This Jordan Travis is something special too.
That dude is good. He's coming back next year too.
Yeah, he's coming back. I absolutely believe that he will be front runner for Heisman. He will be up there. Will definitely be top 3 for Heisman next year, if not the Heisman favorite. So, this is gonna be it, man. This is gonna be interesting.
So the show's starting. They're showing Boo Shenanigans. I call him Boo Shenanigans because I don't even know what his name is. I know it's Boo. So I've been calling him Boo Shenanigans. I don't really know his name, and nor do I really care.
Right.
So they're showing the committee. Show's starting now. So Steve Sarkisian, Texas, they have a watch party. They're showing that right now. Here's my belief. If Sarkisian didn't think we had a shot to get in, he wouldn't be having this watch party.
Yeah.
Right? And of all the teams, so a couple of stats to throw out there. Of all the teams that played yesterday,
they put up the most yardage out of everybody.
They had the most yardage by themselves with more than everybody else combined.
Right.
Quinn Ewers had more passing yards than every other quarterback combined yesterday. That's insane. This team is playing for as much crap as we've given them 3-4 weeks ago for dropping leads. The last 3 weeks now, they've looked like the best team in the country.
I agree. They've looked really good. Listen, one thing that I do like is that they've been playing absolutely more aggressive. We've been talking about this from years, even with the Tom Herman years. It's like, playing with the lead versus playing with the lead and being aggressive versus protecting the league. We both felt that for a while, Texas, they would come out strong, they would come out aggressive, and then something would happen and they would just give up this beautiful lead, whether it be 10 points or 30 or even 40 points. Like, we've gotten to that situation where we've seen it happen multiple times. And it just, for the past, almost a month, it hadn't been like that. So I give them a lot of credit. We have to give them a lot of credit. But boy, I think in the conversations that we were having earlier, if there was a situation where Texas didn't make it, I kind of see why. Again, the committee has shown, and we've talked about it ad nauseum, to where it almost makes me sick to my stomach. But we know that the committee doesn't really mess with Texas like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why. I don't get it.
Regardless of how big the Texas brand is,
it doesn't. Yeah,
it is new in this world.
Right.
In the 10-year history of the college football playoff rankings, this is really the first time Texas has even been a conversation.
Yeah, absolutely.
And although they're a big brand, that works against Texas because they're not commonly in this. If Texas had been in the mix at least 2 or 3 times in the past, I don't think we'd be having this conversation.
Yeah.
But in this world, Texas is the least common denominator. Florida State's been in this conversation many times.
Yep.
Obviously, Alabama, Georgia, Michigan.
Right.
These are all teams that have done it. Ohio State.
Yeah.
Texas really has never made it to the end to get to this conversation. And that's probably what puts them in the minds of the committee and just hardcore knowledge folks that just think about it.
You haven't been there. Yeah.
Yeah. We're new in this world. Now, I strongly believe we'll start to build our presence.
Mm-hmm.
Look, Steve Sarkisian yesterday proved to me and everybody else, he shut everybody up. This is our guy. We will win a national championship with Steve Sarkisian.
Boy,
I don't know if it's going to be next year. I don't know if it's going to be 2 years from now with Arch. In the next 3 years, this team will win a national championship. And if they get in today, they will be probably the best team out of the 4 in the college football playoff. I think they can beat any of those teams.
I believe that too. So let's also highlight a thing. And I know you were at the game. I definitely want to get, your perspective on the game and what you saw live. Because, we kind of went back and forth as the game was progressing, and you mentioned some things about some outstanding players, basically separating themselves from, even the, not only their teams, but the other team as well. And one of the guys that you mentioned was Jatavian Sanders, right?
He was unreal yesterday.
You said he was unreal. Like you had never seen anything before like that. Can you just highlight just some of the things that stood out to you as you were watching that game live?
His yards after catch yesterday were spectacular. I think this is probably the most I've seen Jatavian Sanders get after catching the ball in a very long time. He was good against Alabama, right?
Right.
He had that one really yard run, and then he just been against Alabama. Before yesterday, he'd only had 1 touchdown in the last 18 games. That's a stat that I found out on Thursday.
Wow.
And he scores on the second possession of the game.
Right.
Jatavian Sanders ends with over 100 yards receiving, if I'm not mistaken. As a matter of fact, not only was it Jatavian Sanders, I think Worthy had over 100 too.
Yeah.
So Jatavian Sanders, in a system for Sark, where tight ends are not really featured, Jatavian Sanders had 8 receptions, 105 yards for a touchdown. He averaged 13 yards per catch. Right? And think about some of the plays. There's a little screenplay where he stumbled up a couple times.
Right.
Right? And he picks back up and he runs for a good 15, 20 yards.
Right.
Obviously, the touchdown stuck out. I don't know. It's just like there's just plays that occurred throughout that game.
Right.
And I was just like, wow, he looks really good today.
Yeah.
He looked excellent.
One thing that I did like, that I did notice, is that Sark called a hell of a game, dog. Like that dude, he called a hell of a game.
Yep.
I mean, there was like 1 or 2 spotty plays where I didn't necessarily like it. Those Big 12 referees definitely let a lot of stuff slide like yesterday. They let a lot of stuff slide. From a situation to, getting kind of handsy at the point of trying to go and get the ball, stuff like that. It was an interesting situation where I felt like, okay, like if this, prior to Texas creating a lead and they were kind of, closer in margin as far as points total, I was like, oh, okay, if this is a shootout, in a situation where Texas and Oklahoma are going back and forth, you can't count on the refs to bail you out, because they're doing, they're letting people get away with all types of holes. They're letting people get away with all types of. So I think Sark noticed that early. And again, I could be wrong. I'm just going based off of what I saw. I think Sark noticed that early and was like, all right, if we're gonna win, we gotta win big. I also believe completely that he was like, we have to win big and we have to win handedly, because we have to look better than whoever's playing after us, because they're the first game. Like, and
everybody's watching, right? There's nobody else playing. Everybody's watching, which I think is the reason why Texas is now in the playoff, according to a lot of teams. Because when everybody's seeing, the committee's watching, there's no other games at 11 o'clock yesterday but Texas and Oklahoma State.
Right.
And Texas on the biggest stage, the biggest opportunity they had to pass the eye test, absolutely passed the eye test. By the way, Sark, the last 3 games is called phenomenal games.
Yeah.
We're starting to see the elite play calling that we've been looking for.
We've been dying
years.
Right, for a whole game, right?
Yeah.
And
it's been great the last 3 weeks.
Absolutely. And I think if you give Sark an opportunity to get into this college football playoff,
it's gonna get disgusting.
And again, I'm not knocking anybody else that it. I think all of these teams that we're talking about are uber talented.
Oh yeah.
And it's good. And again, I don't want to sound like a homer, but again, just from looking at what this man has been able to produce over the years, his body of work, especially at Alabama, who else is gonna be able to prepare a game offensively than Steve Sarkisian? The only other person that I could personally think of that can possibly do it is Nick Saban in Alabama. And I'm not talking from an offensive perspective. I'm talking more from a defensive perspective, because that's what Nick Saban is known for, defense.
I still think we would beat Alabama in a rematch.
Okay.
And the reason why, here's the thing. Texas, over the last 2 weeks, this defense has played the number 3 running back in the country by yards and the number 1 running back in the country by yards. Right?
Yep.
That's the other thing that's very impressive was this run defense. Ollie Gordon, 13 carries, less than that. 13 carries, 34 yards.
34 yards. Okay.
Ollie Gordon was a non-factor. He was
taken out of the game very early.
Yeah.
Very early.
Alan Bowman had a really good game. And that's because he had to. If Alan Bowman doesn't throw those 3 touchdowns, this is a shutout.
Yeah.
And quite frankly, 2 of those were on short fields. Obviously, the first one was off the interception from Quinn.
Right.
Oh, no. The first one, they actually drove down the field, and I was like, okay, cool. I knew they were going to get – I had them at 10.
I think everybody expected them to get 1. Yeah.
The second one was off the horrible – which was probably the worst play by Quinn all game. Throws it right to the linebacker. Doesn't see the linebacker right there over the crossing routes. Jatavian Sanders was wide open. He was right. He just doesn't see the linebacker. Right?
He didn't put enough.
Yeah.
And in that situation, he
should have put more in there. He could have thrown it over the guy, and he tried to zip it into him, and he throws it right into whatever. Right? He was excellent yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely.
After the first quarter, Quinn Ewers was 11 for 11. He didn't have a single incompletion after the first quarter.
That's awesome.
His first incompletion was the deep ball, the first play of the second quarter. And Texas was on track to put up 80 points in this game.
That's absolutely awesome.
This Texas team, and the reason why I give this Texas team a shot against any of these other teams, let's just say it's Washington, Michigan, and for giggles, let's just say it's Florida State.
Okay.
Florida State would get curb stomped. They would get
I think
taken to the dog
if
park.
you put Florida State versus any of the teams that could possibly be in the top 4, unfortunately, I just don't see it going. They had to rely on the Wildcat last night. Their quarterback threw for 52 yards, 8 completions, 8 of 21 is what he went for last night.
That was horrible.
That
was hard to watch.
That is not going to help you. Now, if they do make the playoff, of course, they'll get their other quarterback back.
He wasn't that much better.
He wasn't that much better. And so I don't.
But that defense, they have an elite defense, dude.
Their defense is awesome.
They might be the best defense out of in the country.
Them boys was.
Might be the best defense in the country, and I feel so bad for them because if they have Jordan Travis, there's nothing that if Florida State had Jordan Travis, are they the number 1 team in the country?
Absolutely,
bro.
Absolutely.
Here's the other thing. Because the quarterback play has been so bad from these backups, their 2 best options are not being featured. Keon Coleman and Johnny Walker haven't. Dude, Johnny Walker is 6'8", and they still can't get this man the ball.
Can't get him the ball.
I've never seen a 6'8" receiver in my life.
He's so big, dude. I've
never seen a 6'8" receiver in my life.
Right. I was watching the game with a couple of friends of ours last night, and they were like, "Who is that?" And I was
Yeah,
like,
bro.
"Yeah, that receiver right there. He's 6'8". They were like, "Why isn't he getting the ball?" I was like, "Man,
Because
quarterback
they
play.
can't get it to him.
They can't get it to him. Quarterback play.
Yeah.
Quarterback play." I was like, and I informed him. I was like, "Look, Florida State's rolling in here. They might have a third string quarterback playing." They were like, "What?" Like, yeah, man, it's not
It's
It's
not
not
pretty.
good. Yeah, it's not pretty at all. I also want to talk about a couple of things. Again, with you being at the Big 12 championship yesterday, can you kind of guide us through the award ceremony? Like how did because because again, from a TV perspective, and again, I don't knock I if they said, "Hey Tim, we want to send you to school to be a sports analyst and you're gonna be on ESPN or CBS or Fox or whatever the case may be," I would jump right at it, right? But I felt like yesterday, outside of CBS, ESPN completely wet the bed against the Texas Longhorn. Or the they wet the bed when it came to Texas versus Oklahoma State. They were talking over the other reporters. They were
Oh, really?
talking, yeah, like it was just like they wouldn't let Texas have that moment. It felt like they just didn't. I just felt like they didn't allow that to happen. Now,
Yeah.
um, CBS, the way they sent off the SEC yesterday, I could
Yeah,
have
I
dropped.
saw that. That was cool.
I could have dropped a damn tear, dude. It was
You know who
beautifully
CBS
said.
is getting next? The CBS is going to get the Big Ten next year.
Yeah, yeah.
Bro, there's so much change coming. This shit is insane. How much change?
Listen,
By the way, before your next point here, I want to throw this out because I don't know if I didn't know this until recently.
okay,
The 12-team playoff is supposed to start this year.
yeah.
You know
I'm
who
aware.
rejected it?
The
The
Big Ten.
ACC, the Big Ten, and the Pac-12.
Why do they not understand?
They
If they
wanted to wait. They wanted to wait until the conferences got larger. So it was supposed to start this year, and if it would have, we wouldn't be having this conversation. We'd be talking about why James Madison didn't get in or some stupid shit. Why Tulane isn't in.
okay, to be fair, just throw a hypothetical out there. If that playoff would have started this year the way it was supposed to,
Yep. It would, it would have
do
been
you think we
true
would?
Power
Do
Five.
you think the best teams would have gotten in?
Yeah. Because no, what would happen is the way it's supposed to work is your 5 power conference champions get in. So Texas
Right,
is in, right? They're
right,
locked. Now
right.
where they fall on that, then where you once you're in, who
Now we're
cares
talking
where you
about
go?
seeding, right?
Yeah, now we're talking about seeding, but in this new playoff structure, the top four seeds get a bye.
Right.
So then you would say, does Texas get a bye over Florida State or Alabama? Which I think
Right.
they would, because then you could say, well, we beat Alabama head to head, we should get a bye. We've already done that, right?
Right. Right.
And then after that, it's 7 at-larges, which based on current, let's just use the AP polls because we don't know what the college football ranking polls are.
Right.
5 is Alabama, 6 is Georgia, 7 Ohio State, 8 Oregon, 9 Missouri, 10 Penn State, 11 Ole Miss, and then 12 is the number 1 G5 conference, the top-rated G5 conference,
Right.
which in this case would be SMU at 13-0. Who's going into the ACC next year?
Right.
So then your matchups would be 13 versus 5. So SMU versus Alabama. Then you have Ole Miss versus Georgia. Penn State versus Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
And then Missouri versus Oregon. That Missouri-Oregon game would be fire. And then the highest seed would play this game at home.
Right.
So that's what could have happened. And then Texas would get, as the 3 seed, Texas would get the winner of Penn State, Ohio State.
Let me tell you what, if that was in play already this year, What a bowl season, dog. What?
That would have been fire,
Oh,
dude.
man.
This
What
would
a
have been the perfect year. That's the one thing people say. This would have been the perfect year for the
Oh,
12-team
man.
playoff because it's just how stacked it's been.
Right. This would have been
Because
great.
really the undefeated teams haven't looked all that great. Washington has struggled all season.
Yeah.
Michigan struggled against Maryland, struggled against Rutgers for a little bit, you
Yeah.
know. And then of course Florida State.
Ohio State struggled.
Yeah. Florida
Ohio
State, even with Jordan Shiles, beat Boston College by 2.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like so, and then we know all the other struggles. So Texas struggled, Alabama struggled. Alabama struggled for like 6 weeks and then finally picked it up.
Yeah.
And I predicted Alabama to have 3 losses this year, and they were on the verge of 4.
Right. So we just got breaking news. Of course, Michigan being 13-0, they get the number 1 seed.
Okay, not surprising.
Not surprising.
Where did this breaking news come from? Am I missing it?
They just announced it.
Okay, maybe my thing is behind. Are you watching like on your TV?
No, I'm watching through the ESPN app.
Here it is. It just shut up. Okay, so I was a little bit behind.
Okay.
Yeah, so Michigan officially the seed. So this means for Michigan. Oh, they're Washington's 2.
Washington is 2.
Come on.
Let's see, dog. Let's see. Who do you think?
Come on.
Come on. This has got to be it, dog.
Please.
This has got to be it. This has got to, I mean, this got to be it, man. Oh, the suspense is killing. The suspense is killing.
So Washington 1, or Michigan 1, Washington 2.
Right. I mean, I think Washington, what they put together, again, we all talk about the way they handled Oregon. I think this is fair. Oh shit!
Yes, we got it! Let's go! We're in, baby! Let's go! Let's go! Let's go! I told you! Let's go! Let's go!
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh!
Let's go! Go, Tim! We're the college football playoff, baby!
Holy shit! We're in. Who is this 4th one? Oh my god, they scared me with that graphic.
Oh.
They scared me with that graphic. Oh. Oh.
Oh my god.
Kirk Hershey saying Alabama should be at 4.
Oh my god. Oh, we're in the college football playoff. Holy shit. Oh my gosh. Timothy Wayne Randall. We're in the college football playoff, baby.
I never thought we would.
We're in the college football playoff.
Holy smokes. Was that 4?
I told you, the AP is very close to the college football.
Oh,
they're going 6.
Oh, they did us right. Oh, they did us wrong. Oh, no. They wrong for that.
What did I tell you?
Is Alabama going to get in?
No, they're not going to put Alabama in. SEC is out.
Oh my god! Oh my god! Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God.
He left out. He left out an undefeated champion. He left out an undefeated champion.
Holy shit. Holy shit.
There it is. Look at Washington, baby. Listen, listen, Timway. If we could get past Washington in a bowl rematch from last year, we could have a rematch with Alabama, or we could go against the Michigan, a rematch of the 2005 Rose Bowl.
You mean in 2009? You mean 2009?
No. Texas versus Bama rematch from earlier this year. Or
okay. I see what you're saying.
Michigan,
Right.
the rematch of the 04 Rose Bowl.
Right. You're right.
Tim, you ready to say it? I'm ready to say it.
I'm not saying that. 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 I'm not saying that.
You ready?
I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that. I'm not. I'm not saying that.
2.
I'm not saying that. I'm not. I'm not. I'm not. Because that's when you get the bed.
We are in the playoff. Oh my gosh.
This is nuts, dude.
Oh my God. We are in the college football. Tim.
Booger McFarland is going off. He's upset.
I don't care about Booger.
Booger McFarland.
Bro. I can't believe we got in the college football playoff.
He's the left.
Wow.
That is crazy. Give me a second. Give me 1 second. I'll be right back.
Wow. Guys, we're looking at this. We're watching this. It's live. We're reacting to it. Michigan versus Alabama, January 1st, 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 4 p.m. Central. Then later on that night, you have Washington versus Texas, 7:45 or 8:45 Eastern Standard Time kickoff. The Sugar Bowl. Both of these games will be played on that day.
Breaking news.
What's that?
We're looking into tickets for New Orleans.
Okay. That's man. I will say this. I was not expecting Alabama to get in there. Again, I felt like Alabama again deservingly got in. Again, you asked me what my 4 was. We kind of mirrored each other's.
I actually had the 4. Those are my 4. These were my 4.
Yeah. I said Alabama deserved it over Florida State simply because I just didn't think that at this time Florida State is playing their best ball. Now, again, there's nothing against that defense. That defense is elite. That defense is nasty. They have been for the most. They've been like that the entire year. And I just wow. That I know Florida State. Listen, Florida State, y'all are really good. Florida State, y'all are good. I am at absolute loss for words. Of course, you're gonna sneak that SEC team in there. They got it. Listen, from a historical from a historical point, 3 of these colleges are blue bloods. You got Michigan, Alabama, and Texas, right? Washington They've been putting up stuff. My man Harish is on a tear right now. Phone chat, group chats going nuts. You're on mute, Harish, by the way.
My phone is going off. My Twitter's blowing up. So Daylon Mack, which I don't know if you remember Daylon Mack.
Yeah.
Former defensive lineman for Texas A&M. Last night posted about Texas fans about to be disgusted. I can't wait. And he said, LOL, y'all not getting into playoffs. I responded to him and I said, there's still time to delete this. He didn't delete it.
You didn't? Well, I mean, you got to stand by what you. I mean, once it's on the internet, it's on the internet forever. You know what I mean? So, but
and then I just replied to that to ask for an update.
Do we have a percentages of Texas versus Washington?
As far as percentages for like winning percentages?
Yeah.
Like prediction percentages? Let me see. I don't think so. I don't know what the Vegas lines are right now. We can take a look at that.
Yeah. Yeah, man. What a rematch from last year in December 2022. Texas played Washington.
This is gonna be fun. We get another
20.
We're gonna get another crack at Washington. And listen, Quinn Ewers was phenomenal against this Washington team last year. He didn't have Jonathan Brooks. He won't have again, but he will have. Hopefully, the other thing I noticed, Cedric Baxter, he needs to figure something out, bro.
What do you mean?
These 1, 2, 3 yard gains that he's getting, he's not seeing the holes very well, and he's. I feel like he's almost too patient when he runs the ball. But a lot of his
he needs to get to the. He needs to get to
hit the hole,
right?
Because the holes are there, but he's not hitting the holes.
Okay.
Like he's expecting like a fullback to lead him through every play.
Okay.
And it's leading to these 1, 2, 3 yard runs. He has the ability to break these open. He's got to see and once he starts, and I think Jaden Blue actually had more carries than CJ Baxter yesterday.
Okay. Jaden Blue looked great. Jaden Blue looked great.
Oh, they were close, 13 and 10.
Jaden Blue looked great. A lot of guys looked really, really good. I was shocked that Arch got in there.
Shout out to Sark for what he did for Jonathan Brooks.
Yeah.
Putting
him in the game. Putting him in the game on the last play. That was dope.
That was awesome. That's what's up. Yeah. And I hope if Texas gets the opportunity and they finish this thing, he does the same thing.
Yeah. 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 That would be great. That would be great.
Tim. We are 1 game away from the national title.
Man.
Now we a couple weeks ago we talked about, has Sark exceeded or hasn't met expectations?
Right.
He has now exceeded expectations for me. This is what exceeding expectations looks like. Remember last year where Texas had a chance to get into the Big 12 championship game. They had a chance to basically make that season special, and they couldn't do it.
Even at 7-4, 8-4, whatever it is, yeah.
A chance to get to 9 or 10, right? Something to like make an early jump, and it just didn't happen. He made a big jump this year, and I think he also in the same realm he sends a message to the SEC, saying, "We're coming. Y'all better get ready."
Man, in the meantime, let's kind of discuss, quickly what is to come between now and January 1st.
Rest.
There's a number of things that are going to fall in between this, and we don't necessarily have to go into detail, but we can at least talk about what this can prepare Texas for, not only in game but future wise.
Yeah,
there are a number of players yesterday that got announced that were jumping into the portal. Absolute chaos yesterday. I don't know if you kept up with it, but it was like an obscene amount of people over the last weekend announcing that they were jumping into the playoff. Number two, into the portal. Number two, within this next couple of weeks, it is December what?
We don't play till New Year's.
It's what day is it though? What's today's date? Today's date is December 3rd.
Yeah, 28 days.
28 days for Texas to get healthy.
Yeah.
A lot of players dinged up. Quinn went down, was kind of scary. I knew for a fact that it wasn't his shoulder. He definitely got the wind knocked out of him because he landed on that ball.
I thought it was his ankle for a second.
You thought it was his ankle?
Yeah, well, the way he landed initially,
right?
I thought it was his ankle, and then he came back and he looked fine. He wasn't hobbling or anything. He's like, okay, so yeah, then maybe it was his wind knocked down on initial contact, like in the stadium,
right?
Because it looked like he was holding his ankle,
right?
Because I don't know, they go to TV timeouts, but in the stadium,
right?
It looked like he was holding his ankle.
Okay. So yeah, Quinn goes down. He gets nicked up. He goes out 2 plays, comes back in. So that was a thing. That gives him opportunity to rest that shoulder, gives him opportunity to get healthy all the way down. Xavier Worthy for the second time in 4 weeks. They can't catch him, so they go and they drag him down. I really kind of getting tired of this tackle where they grab you by the waist and then they just kind of sink their weight and drop all their weight.
It's like a little hip pointer.
Yeah. It's like it's too many. I've seen too many ankle injuries, too many knee injuries, too many things where people's legs are getting caught up like that. And again, I'm not a component of taking everything out of the game, but clearly this is hurting people. This move is hurting people. I've done it. I've actually, no lie. I mean, I did it. Me and JD, when we were playing semi-pro, we did it against a team out of Dallas, a semi-pro team out of Dallas. We did it. Broke this guy's ankle. Didn't mean to do it. Didn't mean to do it.
Yeah.
I grab him. Quarterback was really, really fast, really, really talented. I go to grab the quarterback. As I'm grabbing I literally got my hand around his waist. As I go down, I, drop my weight. I'm a big guy, I was smaller then, but still bigger than normal. Most people. I drop my weight. JD hits him with a form tackle.
Yeah.
Sends him over a little bit faster. We heard this guy's ankle pop like a twig. Like, that's
because your body's basically moved in 2 different.
You're going
2 different directions.
Yeah. So
these kids these days are still brutal, right? Despite the the other thing we never talked about?
What?
Jalen Ford was popping everybody yesterday.
Oh yeah.
He was hitting. He sent a message. That was the best he's looked all season.
Right. Jalen Ford played lights out yesterday. He was
great. That's the other thing that stuck out to me. Oh, and also we need to talk about the celebration. The boos were louder.
That's what I want. Before they started announcing the playoff, that was what I wanted to
and it was
kind
awesome.
of cover, just to get a better understanding of what actually happened, being that you were in the stadium.
Yeah, so the atmosphere in the entire game was really good. Was really cool. We were sitting. I've got this graphic up because I'm actually looking at Sugar Bowl tickets right now because I think that's where we're going to end up playing. So, this is the field. Texas is on this side right here. We were sitting right here.
Okay.
So in this area, this 305, 306 area. So, and actually the way, and you've been to Cowboy Stadium many times, the way that the stadium is set up, those seats were actually perfect.
Right.
Excellent. It was excellent. Right. So super cool. Atmosphere was great. There was actually a lot of Oklahoma State fans there.
Right.
And they were loud. Until the second quarter. Right.
And
that was very, very cool atmosphere. Lots of fun. Just really cool people. Just on both sides. The ceremony at the end, it was all booze and all SEC.
Right.
It was as loud. It was really loud. It was so loud, and just like you guys saw on TV,
Right.
the fraudulent commissioner couldn't even get a word out. And I think
Yeah.
if Steve Sarkisian even tried to calm him down.
Right. I saw that.
Did not help. It actually made it worse. You know how you like always have the guy that like is trying to be the leader and trying to be the nice guy, and they're like, nah, Steve. We were like, nah, Steve. Let us get this guy. He's not going to get a single word out except here's the trophy.
Right.
That's basically what it came down to, right? We don't want to. He's talking about, oh, that was really positive and all this crap that dude's saying. That dude was full of shit. Anyway, Brett Yormark got the goodbye that he deserved.
Honestly.
He brought this upon himself.
So this is the thing, in which is something I don't necessarily understand as a commissioner of a league where there are 12 more than 12 teams, but you represent you're supposed to be biased. What you want as a commissioner is you want the best teams to represent your conference no matter who they are.
Right. Exactly.
And that for over a year and a half has not been what. Go ahead.
Boo Shenanigans is speaking.
Okay, let's hear it. Let's hear this shit.
Can you hear it?
No.
Okay.
This, but,
what about now?
Looking at the player availability was really important to what's going on. And I think someone said it there, you can lose a running back, you could lose a wide receiver, but, a quarterback as dynamic as Jordan Travis, it changes their offense in its entirety. And that was really a big factor with the committee as we went through everything.
Logic for the first time all year.
I know this is not something that is supposed to come up necessarily, but as you look at these matchups and we move to this next era of college football where there's a perception that there is a Big Two conference situation and everybody else, all four of these teams are going to be in either the Big Ten or the SEC next year.
Yeah.
How was that evaluated in terms of being concerned about leaving out an undefeated champion from another league?
Okay.
It really wasn't.
None of that matters.
When you think about the differences that'll be going on.
None of that matters. We're focused on what's happening right now.
Right.
Why are we talking about what's happening next year?
Yep.
We can't even get, bro, we literally just got to the college football playoff. First time in 10 years, and you're talking about what's going to happen next year? You won't even focus on what's happening in front of you. This is what pisses me off about ESPN, about Fox, about all of these guys. You won't even let the teams get their just due. Alabama just got in because they dethroned the national championship. Michigan, unlike we know they've been cheating allegedly for the majority of the year. They get in, they dog walk Ohio State for majority of that game, and you won't let them live. Washington just wiped Oregon twice. That's the only losses that they have.
Everybody's darling pick.
Right.
They were trying so hard to get Oregon in.
They wanted Oregon in.
Heisman.
They wanted Oregon. Texas beat Alabama at Alabama.
Questions to answer about it, I'm sure, over the next day or two. We thank you for your time.
Yeah.
What's the point of this?
It's stupid.
Why would you ask that question?
Boo Shenanigans looks stressed.
Yeah, thanks to all you.
He is stressed, but again, from a that's poor journalism, and I love him.
Oh, Reese Davis, but you know what he was doing.
But that's terrible, Reese. Come on, dog. We're talking about next year, dog. They still have the Big 12 patch on their chest. What are we talking about?
They still have to play the games this year.
That's terrible, dog.
Yeah.
If I saw that, as a coach, I'd be like, well, why would you even ask that question?
Why does it matter?
Why would you ask that question? Why are we talking about next year? yes, we know that that Washington is going to be in the Big Ten next year. We know that Texas is going to be in the SEC next year. If it wasn't for that fact, like none of that should have mattered. Only thing we need to focus on is this year. It's like, dog, like why can't we get? It's like, and again, I'm showing a fanatic. I'm showing the fanatic perspective. Shout out to Steve. Like you can't let Texas get they just do.
Yeah.
Like
That's
come
crazy,
on, bro. Come
So
on.
yeah, man, that's wild. So I want to throw this out there. I was in a group chat with my friends this morning.
Okay.
Like, and shout out to my friends Rika, Niha, all those guys. And I woke up this morning, and they're usually like the first group of friends I talk to because I've known these guys since I was a kid.
Right.
So I was like, and I don't get up early. I was up at 7 a.m. this morning.
Right.
And so I was just like, hey, Vegas has Texas in. I'm feeling good. And I was like, I think it'll be Michigan, Washington, Texas, and Bama.
Mm-hmm.
And those are the four that got in. And that in that order.
Right.
Texas will go to the Sugar Bowl to play Washington and beats Washington. And then they'll either play Bama for a rematch, or they'll play an all-time great heavyweight title fight, Michigan or Texas. That's what I said in the group chat. So
that's what the money. That's where the money is. That's what.
Listen, as long as Texas gets in, it doesn't matter who they play. The money's going to be insane.
Yeah.
And the national
champion.
The national championship game's in Houston, bro. It's in Houston.
Right. Right.
Now that's a game.
Listen,
we might have to cough up for
if Texas finds a way to get to that national championship, you want to talk about a sea of orange,
bro. That whole stadium's gonna be orange.
That because a lot. Okay, so for the people that don't necessarily know, Houston has a massive, I mean a massive amount of University of Texas, ex-University of Texas alumni. It is massive. They have their own chapter. I've learned like throughout my aunt and uncles going to the University of Texas and whatnot. Dude, they have chapters in each city. And Houston is massive. The University of Texas they call it Texas X chapter, whatever. And they're even split. Like they have a black alumni situation. They have a regular alumni. It is massive, absolutely massive. What are your expectations leading up to? What do you expect to hear from Sark leading up to this game? Because we know that he's gonna change anything. I know he's not gonna. I mean, what? Yeah. Okay. Well, that was.
Look,
that was pretty.
Sark. I see a lot of Saban in Sark, but with his own little twist. Mm-hmm. And let me explain that. Right, his demeanor, the way he carries himself, the way he speaks. Right? I think you're going to get a lot of similarity and things like, hey, I thought this team deserved to get in. We're glad that the CFP saw it the same. Now we've got 3 weeks to get down to business. We've got a lot of work to do. All the focus is on Washington right now. I'm not worried about the national championship game. I'm not worried about who our opponent could be if we get there. The focus is getting healthy, game planning for a very good Washington. Listen, this secondary is going to be tested.
Yeah.
This secondary is struggle. It's been bad all year.
Yeah.
It is going to be tested against Washington. Mm-hmm. And Sark is going to go back and he's going to look at last year's tape because this Washington team played Sark. Quinn Ewers played this defense and he knows he's going to have success against this defense. This might turn into a shootout. But I think Texas is good enough in run defense to kind of put some wrinkles to Washington. And I my early prediction tells me Texas wins like 34-31.
Okay. So this is one thing that's kind of off topic, but this is one of those things that we talk about, and I think we've talked about it before. I think this is why you save your Heisman Trophy situation. As far as like the award ceremony, you gotta hold that shit until after the game, after these games, bro.
I don't think so because it's always meant to be a regular season award.
So I get it, but if you get a situation like, let's take Michael Penix Jr., right? He's beat Oregon twice. He's beat Utah. If he comes in and beats Texas, and he wins, hypothetically speaking, he wins a national championship, you don't think he deserves to be a Heisman? Like, we know he's going to be a Heisman candidate, but we don't think that he deserves the Heisman? To me, no matter who wins the Heisman within the next week or two, if Michael Penix pulls some stuff off like that, dog. What? That's crazy. That's like the year that Vince Young went to the national championship. Listen, I love Reggie Bush. I love what Reggie Bush has done for the sport. I love what Reggie, like, single-handedly for years, it was Reggie Bush, USC, and a sprinkle of Oregon in there every now and then. But majority of our years coming up, it was USC, it was Roy Williams, or Mike Williams, it was Leinart, it was Reggie Bush, it was all those guys. Dog, if he pulls that off, that might be one of the greatest seasons in football history, and it's gonna not exist anymore. Could you imagine if Michael Penix Jr. does that and doesn't get an opportunity to win the Heisman, and the Pac-12 is done? Like, that's crazy, dog. I don't know. I just think about stuff like that. I'm like, dog, you kind of gotta wait on the Heisman. I get it. It is a regular season award, but like, if Michael Penix Jr. pulls this off, that's nuts. That's absolutely.
I think the next evolution to sports is changing. Because they've, like, even in the NFL, right? We talk about MVPs and all this stuff.
Right.
They're always treated as regular season awards.
Right.
I think the next evolution to awards should be season awards. And you give it out at the end of the season, or you have a postseason award and a regular season award.
Right.
Is it NBA that does like postseason MVP? Yeah, it might be.
But I think so. I think that was recently started.
They should move to some sort of system.
Yeah, dog. And just like, because I don't feel like it's gonna taint the Heisman whatsoever. The Heisman is the Heisman. If you're in the Heisman conversation, to me, you're also in a playoff situation as well. Now, let me ask you this: do you think Quinn Ewers should be a Heisman candidate? Because the way he's been playing the last month, I think so.
No, because Quinn Ewers hasn't really played well until about 3 weeks ago.
Okay. And it is an overall season, overall.
Now, if Quinn doesn't get hurt, and that's the other piece, right? Quinn gets hurt. He misses those 2 games.
Right.
We don't know how Quinn would have performed if he was completely healthy in those 2 games.
Right.
We can assume he performed like this.
And those were 2 games where we didn't have the best offensive output.
We started off, but we didn't finish games, right?
Right. Yeah.
And Quinn was, and you know what? If Quinn doesn't get hurt against Houston, do we probably blow Houston out? It was looking that way.
It looked that way. Really, that way.
It really, the 2 games that teams came back in, Quinn didn't play in either of those games.
Yeah.
So that's probably another way the committee looks at it, right? Look at how Quinn Ewers has played since coming back. Yeah, Texas gives up those two leads. Quinn's not playing in either of those 2 games. And when Quinn did play his last healthy before those 2 games, Quinn had him up 21-0 in the first quarter.
Yeah.
That's really how the committee and I didn't think about that angle until now. Listen, at the end of the day, and we've got to jump off here in a little bit because it's 11:55. I got to go watch the Colts play the Titans.
That's a big game. That's a rivalry.
So
yeah.
I will leave it with this, and then we'll have more discussion potentially with the special guest on Thursday. We will have more discussion.
Yeah. And we got a lot to cover because, again,
now everything changes. Oh, before we leave,
and let's not overlook the announcement of these other games, because these other games,
Have they been announced yet?
they're going to be announced soon. That's why I thought we were riding this thing out, but
Oh, like today soon?
yeah, like they're getting announced today at 1:30,
Oh,
which is
yeah.
12:30 Central Standard Time. But it's all good. We could come back. Even we could recap those games tomorrow if need be.
Yeah.
Again, we just want to again provide you guys with the just honest. Again, we're fans, okay, and we wanted to provide you with what our thoughts are on the game, the season, these games that were played yesterday. Let me say this: yesterday was awesome. No matter what the playoff, the way things shaped out, you couldn't have put it any better. This weekend was nuts. Starting Friday,
It was great.
we said everybody had, and I didn't necessarily feel like Oregon was just gonna just dog walk these guys.
Oh,
But
I thought it was going to be a 3-touchdown game.
I didn't feel that way, and the way it played out, I remember sending that text message. Me and you were just like, "What the? It's gonna pop. It's going up.
Yeah.
Like it's going up." And from then, I mean, you get that big win, that impressive win yesterday. You go in at 2:30. It's 2:30 in the afternoon. Your team has already played. You're just waiting to see what else happens. It is that was the most anxious thing. Now I kind of get how Alabama felt. I kind of get how these other teams have felt in the past when they played early and you have to wait to see what else happens. Unless you were undefeated. Well, Florida State, they're undefeated and they didn't get in. But for the most part, if you were undefeated, you were kind of good. And that didn't work. In
three of the 14 scenarios, that's absolutely true.
Right.
Well, two of the four, 50% really holds that.
Right.
50% of because Michigan is undefeated conference champion. So maybe this is the thing. Maybe the thinking from the committee is, look, 2 of the 4 teams went undefeated and they're both in. So we're still holding precedence. Right. Now, there's nothing that says that 3 of the 4 teams have to be undefeated.
Right.
All precedence is set in the past is there's never not been an undefeated Power 5 conference champion in the playoff. There's 2 of them.
Right.
There's nothing that says that there has to be 3.
Right. And that's what
and the other thing is the fact that they even, I think Texas was a lock at 3 or 4 regardless.
Okay.
That's the other thing that I've learned is Texas was getting in regardless. It was a matter of, do we put Texas at 3 and Alabama at 4? Right. Do we put Texas at 4, Florida State at 3? Or do we put Texas at 3, Florida State at 4? And I think that's what I really do think it came down to Alabama and Florida State. I don't think Texas was ever in question.
Yeah.
And finally, that means the head-to-head mattered.
Yeah.
So thank you for going to Tuscaloosa and beating them, because that saved your playoffs. If Texas loses that game, well, they're out because then they'd have 2 losses. Right. If Texas loses that game, though, I don't think we'd be having this discussion. I think Texas.
Not at all.
So you're welcome for being right again.
In closing, again, like I said last year, and I'm going to continue to say it. What a season! What a season! Way to cap it off. I'm glad these Texas guys took this personal. I'm glad Sark has instilled this killer mentality, this unknown will to just instill that you guys have to have a killer mentality to get through this. I really, really like what he's done. Again, there were some bumps in the road, but if you look at all of these teams in the college football playoff, all of them have had their rough spots. All of them, all 4. We've seen it. We've watched it within the last 13 weeks. We've seen it. And again, I feel that they got this right. I know you feel like they got this right. If you guys We would love for you to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Let us know how you guys feel. Get in those YouTube comments. Let us know how you feel about that. I really would like to hear what y'all have to say. Again, Thursday, packed show, potential guest being there. So again, what a time. Absolutely, like what a time. Arish, we've been talking about this for 10 years, dog. We've been talking about this for 10 years. It's finally happening. We're getting what we deserve. I feel like we're getting what we deserve. And man, the only thing I can look forward to is January 1st. I'm gonna be pumped. We're gonna talk about it. We're still gonna cover things. We're still gonna keep the regular
We got a
schedule.
lot to cover.
It might be some stuff. It might be some stuff that happen in between it. We might do a couple shows prior. We'll definitely keep you guys posted. Make sure you guys like, share, comment, and subscribe again. Make sure you follow us on Twitter. Make sure you follow us on YouTube. We're trying to get that YouTube count up, so you guys get in there. Follow us for sure. Man, this is nuts. This is absolutely nuts, and we still got to see what's coming down the pike, because we still got to see what the scheduling is going to be for bowl season. And I'm going to be tuned into bowl season because there's so many things that are going to affect not only just the bowl season itself. This can affect recruits, coaching, all types of stuff. All of this stuff is tied in together. All of it is. So, man,
Other thing to keep in mind.
What's that?
Transfer window opens tomorrow. The portal opens tomorrow.
Oh. The drama doesn't stop. So it doesn't stop. Even though we get in, there can still be some drama. What have you seen? I feel like you've seen something, or you got some information about that transfer portal.
So DJ Uyunglele.
Yep.
Is in.
Yep.
Lincoln Riley is visiting Will Howard today.
Oh.
In Kansas State.
What the
There's this guy Juice Wells.
Oh yeah.
I really want Texas to go after him. And there's the defensive tackle from Houston. Those are two guys I'm looking for Texas to go get.
Okay. Well,
beyond that, I haven't heard much from. I was still no news on Evan Stewart, but I heard
Juice is from South Carolina, correct?
Who? Juice, yeah. There, but Jeff Ketchum was talking about on Friday that even if Evan Stewart enters the portal, Texas isn't interested because his asking price is too high.
Oh.
And they don't feel like the asking price is going to be worth the ask. By the way, I just texted our potential guest for next week. He probably won't answer right now because they're live, but right. I just texted him.
Okay.
Cool. Okay. All righty, guys. Texas is in the playoff. I'm going to go downstairs, take my victory shot, and then I'm going to go watch Colts Titans. But we will see you guys back here Thursday night, 8:30 with the potential guest. Right. But between now and then, in between time, my name is Harish. This is my guy, Tim Wayne.
Yes, Peace. Sir. Tim Wayne. Till Gabriel.